they also bought a service called My Day, which I'm sure we all know. It's just a collection
we all know My Day.
It's just a collection of links.
It's terrible.
Why can't we do that? So that's what we've done. We've developed a bespoke solution for Wellington to solve the majority of their problems, and the more things we can hoover up each time, the more uses our app's going to have, and the more people who would want to use it. And the 20th of May will be our launch day for the app, but also the reignition of WellyCompSci from an external point of view.
Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of CompSci Insight. I'm your host Charlie Edwards and my co-host Ben Nason.
So Charlie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, you?
Yeah, I'm good. What about you, Will Mann?
I'm very good, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce our first guest of the WellyCompSci podcast, Will Mann, president of the WellyCompSci and opposite Benson.
Yes, current president of WellyCompSci. Unfortunately, due to exams, I may be leaving you guys at some point soon.
When are you stepping down?
Stepping down date is due to be at the same time as the My Welly launch, which is going to be on the 20th of May, to anybody watching.
20th of May.
Big day. And at that point, I'm stepping down from WellyCompSci.
Will Arjun be stepping up?
I can't say. The process for the application of president and vice president isn't set in stone yet, but if you're vice president, you're not guaranteed to get presidency.
Okay, cool. I'd like to start off the podcast with the main topic of this episode, and that is, what is WellyCompSci? Obviously, all three of us are part of WellyCompSci, but I think we should probably start with you, Will, explaining how WellyCompSci began.
So, WellyCompSci kind of began... So Mr. Hooper, who's our current head of department, joined when I was in fifth form, so that's 2 years ago.
Okay.
He presented himself as a very ambitious man.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all know. And I had developed a interactive sign-in and sign-out system for Benson to use, which Charlie would know about.
Is it still in use?
Not actually anymore. I may have sidelined that one a little bit, but for a couple of years before the start of this academic year, it actually was in use, and Mr. Hooper really liked that idea, and he really liked the idea of students taking initiative. So every now and then we've tried to incorporate student-led learning, as some people, like myself, have industry-level experience and skills in coding and project management and other situations like that. So when Mr. Hooper asked me to teach computer science club, which was our society we formed, to do some different coding styles, I thought, let's give it a shot. The problem with that one was it didn't have as much of a turnout, so we didn't get a lot of people coming in to have a chat with us about latest technological trends, or they just wanted to learn how to do games with people who did turn up. So we were teaching Unity. We also taught basic web design and Arduino and electronical engineering aspects, kind of things. It was popular to a point, but it slowly starts to fizzle down and down and down, and we realised this is not actually what we wanted. We didn't want just to have a society and a club of us just messing around, not doing anything productive. We wanted to be productive and make something really special for the school. So we tried this last year with me and a group of then current upper sixth to develop basically My Welly, a prep and timetable app. That's where the idea first came from, and unfortunately they weren't as committed as I would say we are now. The members of that team, they're some of them brilliant, sure, and still are. I keep in contact with some of them, but we never really got the spark right there, the motivation to get going. So at the moment it was just like, oh, what have you guys done this week? Oh, nothing much.
So would you consider that the start of WellyCompSci or the start of the idea of WellyCompSci?
I would call it a bit of a questionable approach to WellyCompSci. We always knew we wanted that idea to be pioneers in student-led education. We just never got the right way around to doing it.
Well, I guess the start was when you sent out that email to everyone, and we came for that first meeting on the Monday break.
I am coming to that. This is getting good now. But yes, at that point, I would call that a branch of WellyCompSci that didn't turn out the way we wanted to. So, cut that one off when the upper sixth decided that it was more important to focus on their exams, which is very valid. But at that point, we had said, me and Mr. Hooper said, this isn't really working. Should we try something different? And said, you're sure? Let's come back after summer. Let's see what we can come up with another idea like this. But we never really did as soon as we came back. But actually, it was a bit of an opportunity moment. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with M&F, the Monday Night Football. The guys in that team approached me asking, is there any way we can digitize this process? Because there was a website, but it had to be manually updated.
Okay.
So at that point, they asked me, can we do something basically they wanted from me a way to create just a fixture list. And I thought, how about I do you one better? How about I make you a really smart website? And I did, and I'm actually really proud of the M&F website.
Is that hosted on the school server?
Yeah, it's hosted on our own servers actually now.
Okay.
I was learning to do a bit of professional stuff at the time. I wrote it, showed it to them. They were really happy with it. Yeah. And literally, M&F just kicked off from there. And you know what? I showed it to Mr. Hooper, and he said, actually, that's exactly what we need. That's a bit of a kickstart, as you were, to revitalise this idea. So at that point, we decided, right, we're going to send this website to the whole school.
Yeah.
It's going to be so everyone can see not only M&F fixture scores, but the idea of a student making something really professional.
Okay.
Be it that this website took me about 2-3 weeks extra time, in my own spare time. And after that moment, we sent out that initial email. We also said who wants to apply to be a part of our industry. We called them jobs at the time. And that's when you guys got the first email and came to a meeting. We had about 20 to 30 people there.
More, maybe
even more than that.
How many did you expect originally?
Not that many, to be honest. We sent the email and just said, this is what we can do, let's see who's interested. And a lot of you guys were. So that was actually the backboard to what we started with WellyCompSci. We had our idea, we had the people who wanted to be involved, and now we just need to start formulating it. So so I'm sure you guys remember the first presentation. I mean, what did you think of that?
Well, actually, I thought that it was mainly football based, because you sent the email out saying are there any jobs that people want to do, producing it and interviewing and stuff, and the journalism for it. And I thought, I don't like football, but I could be quite interested in the coding side of it, so I just came along anyway. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that's kind of a similar story for me. I thought, well, I may as well come along, and I thought it was slightly towards the end anyway, but it's turned out to be more than that. Yeah.
I mean, that was our initial intention. I admit we could have phrased the email a bit better, and we said if anyone wants to do a journalist job or photographer job for M&F, we can host them on our site. We didn't get that many responses, so we thought at this present time we don't want to go down that avenue too much.
Stick with the CompSci.
We'll stick with the CompSci and then come back to this probably next year, because the website's still working.
And what about the juniors? Are they going to use the same thing, or?
I don't know yet. They're more than willing to. If someone gets in contact with me, I'm sure to revitalise that.
Well, that's an opportunity for us as well.
We could build a new one.
By all means. So from that initial meeting, Arjun and myself, Arjun being the vice president, and
he's actually on next week, Gallo.
The first computer science scholar. I'm not jealous at all.
Well, you didn't. Well, actually, you didn't even code before then. We're going to be talking about this later. Your early coding.
Start on the path of the Will Man.
Start on the path of the Will Man. But yes, Arjun and I said, let's teach these guys how to do what we do.
Yeah.
So we created a video sharing portal. At the first, it was really flimsy. I mean, the actual portal itself, I spent an afternoon saying, I'm going to copy and paste little snippets of what I've done,
Okay.
put them together.
So you barely built it. You just sort of.
I just said, and that semi-works. Perfect. Unfortunately, that's not what we think about now, by the way.
It's a bit more formal.
So we created a process, some video courses, and sent this out to people who were interested. The video courses being things like basic web design. To be honest, that was basically it. It was web design in different capacities.
HTML and
CSS
and then
JavaScript.
Yeah.
And we said to the interns, you guys, once you've watched these courses, go make something of your own. Go make your own project. Come back to us, and we'll schedule a formal interview, informal kind of interview, where we would look through your code, see what you thought of the courses, see what you understood from them, and also see if you are truly interested in being part of our organisation. We had quite a few actual entries there.
I think there were more people. There were lots of people that started, but the initial interest was quite big. But then, as people started to realise, you actually have to put in the time in, and that's, I guess, where you sort of see the difference between the people that want to just be part of a group or actually want to use that group to do better things.
You start to, what I would say, filter out the people who
come to a couple meetings, don't really do.
I don't want to say using, but that's kind of what I feel like they're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
The people who are just like using this for platforms to promote themselves for their universities, or just without putting much time in, or an easy way to be involved in the society because their tutor said they have to.
Yeah.
And that actually was a really good process, because instead of having a team of 30 people who we ask to do things and then never gets done, we have a team of 10 people, or more like 12 now actually, we're still going up, who we can say are solid and we can get things that can be relied upon. Yeah,
well, I've noticed especially because I was quite one of the, I think, was it the first?
Early?
No, you weren't the first, but you were one of.
One of the first. I remember that first meeting. I think Gregor was there, but you weren't. Or the other way around. I can't remember.
I think Ben was first.
Gregor came after.
Okay. I remember Gregor came after because Gregor developed this really cool JavaScript project, which we had wanted to see, but he said it wasn't ready yet. And we've heard so many good things that we were expecting. Look, we've got Ben already. We've got Charlie. Just bring your thing, turn up, let's see what you got.
He wanted to build the tension.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I remember that, and our first meeting, you guys were just like, you were straight to us, you said, right, we got a lot of work to do, and the more time you put into this, the more you get out of it. And I knew straight away that this wasn't just going to be like a sort of club or something, this is actually something like, it's actually turned into more of like a company now. And there's loads of different branches.
That's actually really good to hear, because it means this past year we haven't been doing just stuff for no reason. It actually feels like we started to formulate a good process, a good foundation for you guys to lead on. And I mean, not only that, it doesn't feel like I have to lead or instruct you guys to do anything. You literally take the independence to do your own thing. I mean, this podcast was your idea, Charlie. You came along and you said you wanted to do it, and you're doing it. And it's just that simple. If we can get more people like that, not just for WellyCompSci, just in Wellington in general, you would get such a more productive atmosphere, and you get so many more things being done than people who are just wandering around day to day, doing what they have to because they're told to.
Yeah, well, I guess it is changing. I think there are more societies, a lot more student-led societies. Obviously, DukeBox, there's a lot of radio shows which are all student-led. But back to the CompSci, so obviously we had the initial people, and then more people started filtering in. How would you describe WellyCompSci now?
So
where, like, let's say from our last meeting.
Yeah, from our last meeting, I would describe WellyCompSci as not just starting off, but an actual student-led business run inside Wellington College with the aim to educate others in how to program and develop in industry-level standards, as well as developing projects for Wellington to use.
Yeah.
So have you have you clashed with Wellington at all during this process?
Oh yes, we have completely. Even legal now. Actually, we're progressing too far that legal really wants us to calm down. Slow down.
I guess that is happening. If you want to talk about the presentation you did to SLT.
So yeah, we actually have the appropriate people to kicks up the appropriate backsides.
Yeah.
But yeah, this actually started from only this Tuesday. Arjun and myself had a presentation with the head of department in the Master's Lodge at their meeting, and the reception was better than I could ever expected.
Yeah.
We not only showcased the WellyCompSci itself, but we also showcased the prep app, which I'll talk about in a moment.
Okay.
And both of those different, like, combination of work we've done, you could see all the people were blown away, and that was the effect we had wanted to have. And from then, we've had so many different teachers coming up saying, the app is great, WellyCompSci, really revolutionary stuff, to a point where we can I have a meeting, I want to talk to you about this, how can we do this? We've had Dr. Crom, Mr. Kirkham, and more faces coming on each time. And to be able to say and spread that whole, like, information, as saying, about WellyCompSci, about student-led learning, it's not only setting a benchmark for us in the future, but setting a benchmark for Wellington, saying we can have some high standard things. WTV does it, DukeBox does it,
they do.
WellyCompSci now does it. What are you guys missing out on? Basically catch up.
Well, you had Mr. Thomas there, didn't you?
Yes.
The big dog.
The big dog himself.
Was
Mr.
Dahl
Thomas.
there?
Mr. Dahl was not, but he
So
had
we might
heard of
need
the
to-
stuff. Yes.
We might just give him when you leave.
Yeah.
Obviously, we might need to give him an extra
Yeah.
presentation when he's there.
Just an internal one,
Yeah.
Showcase what you got. Or invite him to a meeting even. Depends on what you feel like.
Definitely too busy.
Definitely too busy. Yeah. But I mean, how have you guys felt it's progressed? Because you started off early in the year, and
Well, yeah, definitely. So I was actually going to talk about this. This is quite important for me, I think, for WellyCompSci. And we actually had a discussion about this on the meeting. So I came in wanting to be a better coder. And I started to notice after half a term that it wasn't just about the coding. And I personally feel like my job in WellyCompSci is not really coding at all, and I'm actually very comfortable with that. And obviously I'm in charge of the blog, the WellyCompSci blog, which is on the WellyCompSci homepage. Go check it out. And I got the podcast up and running, which was an idea I had at the very start, and I'm actually very happy to have started it now. Obviously we have social medias, which I'm hoping to reinvent, like we are reinventing the YouTube. We have the WellyCompSci YouTube, which is where the
do you want any more self-promotion?
No, I'm not saying. No, so I'm saying I'm trying to actually promote WellyCompSci here. Go check out the YouTube,
or the website, or
on my
prep
website.
app.
Twitter.
Yeah, and I think all these things, they are like a big part of WellyCompSci, and that's sort of the biggest reason why I'm here. And I think me and Ben can both agree that this podcast it proves that WellyCompSci isn't just about the coding.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you don't have to be necessarily good at coding to get in and help with us.
No.
And obviously we have like people like Gregor McLean, who is definitely going to be one of the best coders.
He is a fantastic coder. He managed to pick up some of the things I've spent half a year on.
He pretty much hacked into the learning portal.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He broke my learning portal.
He actually did hack into it and broke it. And then you have Jakob, who is, quote, Mr. Hooper the best Python coder he's ever met, and will basically progress into someone better than you will. I'm sorry, but
ooh, that's hurting me.
Well, yeah, that's what Mr. Hooper thinks. So talk to him about it. Then we have Alan, Alan Shu, who amazing
Master of
coder.
maths,
I mean,
he is the guy who is just like on it with algorithms or anything like that. We got you two guys yourselves, and then we've also got
third formers,
Cherry, Keddy Morgan, Adam Reed,
who that. I mean, Keddy is the producer of the show, and he's actually going to be editing this, and his dad is a professional editor, I think. But he's got the skills.
They've also got the ambition as well. Zara, you can see like her writing stuff, her blog post was absolutely incredible, and I mean, we didn't expect we wanted writers by the end of this, but we got some.
I mean, we definitely did,
and they are so useful. Like, we are seriously undervaluing a lot of people in our team. But that's the thing, we always will be, because we have so many
ideas,
talents in our team that we can't utilise all of them, but we want to utilise as many as we can, as soon as we can.
Yeah, well, I definitely think next year, starting off, because obviously you only introduced WellyCompSci, I think, after half term, so we didn't actually have as much time and clout for people to know who we are. But I think when you start off
the starting year, it's always going to have a rocky road. It's like when you're learning to drive, you've got to wait, you've got to pass the test, you've got to make sure you don't crash, etc. Now you're at this point where you've been on the road for a year now,
and I think
keep on going.
Have you passed your driver's test?
Yes, I have, but that's not relevant.
I think the reinventing it next year, having a big, and hopefully when I get the intro video done, having that showcase at College Carnival, hopefully we can start off the year saying, right, these are the projects we want to do, this is what we already have, let's make this year the biggest year WellyCompSci's got. Because if you think about it, the second year of something is always going to be the biggest, because you have the vision, you start the vision, and then you create the vision.
See, now I want to leave on that. I don't want to make sure that the second year is going to be the biggest. I want to make sure the next year is always going to be bigger than the first.
Yeah.
I always think if it can get bigger and bigger and bigger, don't stop that grind. Don't stop the train, as it were.
The grind.
Don't stop the grind. You'll keep going on and on and on to the point where you honestly believe you can't go any further and you've taken over Wellington College.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of taking over, that's actually our first goal with our first product. My Welly was started off as just an idea to document preps and possibly even view a timetable. Now we've got a lot more than that. The idea of My Welly is it's become your one-stop shop for everything you could possibly need at Wellington, and we're expanding to more different areas so fast at the moment.
I mean, every meeting there's new ideas.
There's new ideas coming up.
We had the idea about the post room, literally anything you can think of, V&A, post room, grubbies.
If we can digitize it, we want it. I mean, we can see some products with some potential, some products with loads of potential. I mean, the current moment, My Welly is my.wellycompsci.org.uk if you want to check it out. Just use your school login because it already works with your Office 365. But just saying. But when we expand things like we want to incorporate catering, so you can. The idea is that you can see what's in the V&A at lunch, what's in the V&A at 9 till 10, what's in the dining hall, lunch and dinner and breakfast, and just that basic thing there will give you an idea of just something that will make your life easier at Wellington.
Rather than the really irritating one where you have to scroll through about 5 weeks to find the actual date.
Just smarting things, little things up like that. I mean, the problem with Wellington at the moment in terms of this digital perspective is, or not at the moment, recently, now that we've come to this page, we're taking over. They always keep buying external services to do things that are really simple.
Oh, that's the thing,
they bought a service to create class OneNotes, which, in fairness, you have about 200 odd classes.
Well, there's nothing.
It kind of makes sense, but there's nothing a teacher can't do. They also bought a service called My Day, which I'm sure we all know. It's just a collection.
We all know My Day.
It's just a collection of links.
It's terrible.
Why can't we do that? So that's what we've done. We've developed a bespoke solution for Wellington to solve the majority of their problems, and the more things we can hoover up each time, the more uses our app's going to have, and the more people who would want to use it. And the 20th of May, will be our launch day for the app, but also the reignition of WellyCompSci from an external point of view. Because
so on that Monday assembly,
on that Monday
is it
assembly,
you're doing a PowerPoint or something? Are you going to be standing up in front of the whole school?
We're going to do a product launch, which is going to put Steve Jobs to shame.
Are you going to talk about WellyCompSci? Are you saying, right, this is our team?
In my opinion, assemblies have the impression that people are just being there. They listen, sure, it's kind of interesting, but they just hear the announcements, they hear what's going on in the week, and they get on with their day. If you start to like ball up their things, you're giving a talk about something which interests you, which you have every right to do, and people do listen, but if you can't expect them to be interested, you can't force them to be interested. So in my opinion, the quicker you are in terms of delivering your speech effectively, just telling you what the message is, the more people are going to want to listen and pay attention, and if it entices them, if it's useful to them, they will want to keep going. And that's the kind of goal of the product launch. We're just going to introduce My Welly, saying prep, timetable, everything you need in Wellington, it's yours, go ham.
Well, that is going to give us a lot of clout, and it's going to, I mean, an idea, I'd say maybe after you released it, get Hooper to send another email to school saying,
that's exactly what we're going to do.
This is the work of WellyCompSci. You could be part of this if you have, the vision and the time, and you want to be part of something that will make a difference. Come to a meeting, and we could probably do another the first meeting we had.
That's exactly what we're doing. Because as soon as we get this going, we have a product, we have an end result, we have proof that this works. We also have people who would be interested, and then we can double our size in our team.
Well, I know for a fact there's people interested, because in our computer science lessons, Mr. Hooper always manages to find any opportunity to big up WellyCompSci. And a lot of people, he says, Charlie's doing the blog, go write a blog. You got Will doing the prep out, go, if you want to help him with that. And everybody's really into it, and then
just forget about it.
No, they don't forget, but the only problem they have is they don't see it, and they don't have a visual confirmation that anything's happening. And I think on that launch day, it's going to be the difference between just talking about it and actually something happening.
That is the entire end goal with it right now. And hopefully, when we do that launch day, I'll be feeling quite good about ourselves.
I mean, you deserve it.
To the point where I have a physics exam in the afternoon, so it could be fun.
Very nice.
I want to move on. So everyone knows you are the computer science, basically the go-to computer scientist at Wellington.
I know. I know people know.
And it's not even like you being arrogant about it. It's the truth. You are the best coder at Wellington. But you're...
Don't tell Arjun that.
Just absorbing all the
best. But your beginnings are unusual for your talent.
Yes, well, they're not too unusual. They're just...
Well, you didn't even do computer science GCSE. That's
No, I did not.
Do you want to explain that?
So, okay. I've always had a knack for doing things with computers.
I think we all have. That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. But I always liked to do things more. I actually just learned basic video editing just purely because I was interested. And this was at the age of about 8 or 9. I was just on my computer. I mean, it was really terrible videos with the Windows Movie Maker, but I was just interested in just doing loads and loads of things with the computer. My sisters all wanted to play Sims 2. I'm like, no, back away. I'm making a PowerPoint presentation. I have used that before. Now it sounds quite sad.
It does.
But I was doing all these things. I was doing all these things on the computer, doing basic game development, just using one of those sketch drag and drop kind of things.
Scratch,
yeah. To the point where Mum said, "Look, do you want to go on this computer science course I found? It's in Maidenhead, which is just a town, couple miles in that direction, and they can teach you how to do just more things like you like." So we do really complicated macros, sound editing, video editing, and it was a collection of people like me who were just really interested in these kind of things.
What year was that?
I was about 10 or 11.
Because I'm surprised, because if you think about it, like you obviously see computer science courses all the time on the internet now, like video editing and stuff. But I'm surprised at that sort of time, because obviously YouTube was kicking off then, but people weren't using technology like that much in terms of like this kind of thing. Yeah. So it was quite.
It was quite. I'd say there was basically an upstairs office block where they had about 3 classrooms, each with a couple of computers in them, and then I went on this course, and then this was like every Saturday, I would say, for like during term time. So then I said they have another course, so I went back to do one for the next year, which was basic C# coding. Okay. And I went round and I did that, and then I did a Java summer camp with them to learn how to do Java, and then I also learned how to do some basic Unity stuff as well.
And that was age?
That was aged around 12, I would say.
Yeah, that's still early.
Java at 12 is hard.
Age 13, they offered a web design course, and then I started really going for it, just making things when I could, every now and then, just making new projects, and that was a 2-year course. That was set me up for basically all this stuff, because I got my interest there. It wasn't just I'd done quite well, I'd got my interest there, and I just started making these little things, making these little problems, and solving them. And then I came to Wellington, and I was still learning these stuff, but I really just kind of slowed down. And then I was going to consider doing GCSE computer science.
Okay.
But what I was wondering was, am I wasting my time doing it? Will they teach me anything I don't know? Will I do this kind of stuff, and will I enjoy it? Because everyone's there basically have no coding experience, so I don't want to feel like I'm the smartest kid in the room, and everyone's just going to ask me for help. And actually, I've realised now, if I had done computer science, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, because you haven't been able to progress in your own time, I guess. Yeah.
So I progressed in my own time, doing my own kind of things. Sure, I missed out on GCSE computer science, and everyone who did seemed to relatively enjoy it until they got to exam season. Then they got quite stressed about their coursework, because the teacher, when I was in 4th form, before Mr. Hooper turned up, Mr. Kagansky, he was asked by the maths department to set up a computer science department, purely because he's done some sideline coding stuff, as it was a subsidiary of maths. And then they said, hey, we've got some spare classrooms, do you want to use them? Sure. Move down to where we are now. And then he said, look, I think what he said was, this is a bit too much for me, I'm going to go move my ventures back home for me to South Korea. And Mr. Hooper was employed, and not only did he manage to get, I don't want to say fixed, but he basically did. He fixed most of the GCSE lot there to push their grades up. He was a guy with a very thick beard, very odd way of looking, and
very good coder.
Yeah.
Coder, questionable. Ambitious, yes.
Yeah.
He was a very, very ambitious person, and that is exactly the kick up the backside I needed, because I was sitting there on an idea, and he said, yeah, just go ahead, do it. We've got money, we've got things, we've got a budget. If you need help, sure, you go do it. And that's exactly what I did. At that point, I made the idea for the sign-in system.
Yeah.
Because Karen, being our matron in-house, said there was no good way of telling when people were in and out of house for things like fire alarms, registration, things like that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to develop this. I showed my housemaster, who then showed IT. We got things set up, and that was my first project. And I would say I only started that one because I didn't do GCSE computer science. And that is where I've started till all the way up now. And then every now and then I've just been kicking up my knowledge base, doing more and more things, and then here we are today.
Yeah.
Foundation of WellyCompSci.
Your future, what's going to happen after you leave here? What?
So I've currently got an offer lined up. Well, I got all my offers from university. But the offer I'm really looking forward to is I've got a degree apprenticeship offer, which basically means I get a degree as well as doing a digital apprenticeship with Vodafone in partnership with University of Birmingham.
Okay.
So that basically means I get to go to Birmingham University as per normal, but I am also employed by Vodafone, so they will pay me a salary and cover my student fees, as in the
whole
fees,
thing.
the
So
whole
no
thing.
student debt.
No student debt.
That's very good.
They will cover the university expenses. I have to pay for accommodation, but they pay me a hefty salary. And I spend the university year there. My only catch is I have to go work for them in the summer, which isn't really a catch, because...
Wait, it's more enjoying, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, I
Surely
mean,
you'll learn a lot from them as well.
Yeah, it's industry experience, and they pay me. I'll give it. And then I have a placement year with them, and then when I graduate, I have a 2-year contract with them to work for Vodafone, which I wouldn't class as bad because they just basically given me a job post-grad.
Did you... how did that happen? Did you interview with the uni and Vodafone?
Or I had to interview with Vodafone, not the uni, but I knew I didn't want to do the traditional route. I was even thinking of not going to university, purely just to go find a job, earn some money, or make my own company selling my products. To the point where I was absolutely convinced on this. And then I actually realised I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's go find somewhere who does. I was just really looking for a normal apprenticeship. Then actually this degree apprenticeship popped up when me and my mum were looking. As part of the UCAS things, we thought actually that university does sound like a good idea. It's Birmingham. There was also one with Leeds. We applied for both. I got both. I had to do an interview process, but I basically showcased WellyCompSci and I'm in.
Yeah, it's very
yeah, and that is exactly where I raced to. So the offers are with UCAS, which makes them good because that's part of the whole process of having to apply for them externally. And yeah, it's been absolutely amazing to think that I only need 3 A's, which is, I mean, I'm still working to get them, but
definitely.
I can feel like I can
Definitely
get them.
capable.
And I will be into a start of my career, and I've also got a substantial amount of money to go with it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so what were we going to say?
No,
I'd like to just move on to our last topic, which is current affairs in the tech industry, which I'm hoping to do. We'll probably do it every episode at the end. So just looking here for the headlines, Facebook bans dangerous individuals. What do you think about that?
So I've been seeing this coming for a while. Facebook always tends to be the pinnacle of
What happens with social media? If there's something going wrong online, it's Facebook's fault, according to the US senators, basically. I mean, it's a very funny video to watch, at least for us. Remember when Mark Zuckerberg was called in to do the Senate, in the US Senate office, and watching the senators just talk about Facebook products. They talk like they act like
they talk like they know what they're doing, and they really don't. One of them started talking about Google Maps, and Google Maps, by definition, is owned by Google. We know this, right? Yeah. And then he asks Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook how Google Maps tracks their location.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of funny things where they're in court for another reason. I don't know, being sued for whatever. And these senators, they speak for like 15-20 minutes, one long question, and they finish, and then Mark Zuckerberg goes, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I don't know what you're talking about." And you look at the people that have asked the question, and they're like, "Sorry, what? I did all my research," and they go, "You've got no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah. To the point where one of them asked about an Apple device, and it's like, it's the device. I make the software.
Yeah.
It's like they discovered technology about a day ago.
But anyway, back to the question. Sorry, just a little side piece. Facebook bans dangerous individuals. I had seen this coming because they had already banned fake news. Because they don't want to make their platform the idea of spreading. It is a great online platform, Facebook, but they don't want to make their platform where they can spread fake news, or as in as in, I don't want to say fake news as in Trump fake news, just in general,
just
news that isn't true, or political based things, because it makes it seem like Facebook is swinging one way or another. It's very interesting market to play with, because they've got so much dominance over the global market, and yet they don't. As in, Facebook, the dangerous individuals, some of them are banned, are very political based, but also just extremist based as well. So that people don't get caught under their influence on their platform.
Facebook has already banned anti-Islamic UK groups such as Britain First.
Yeah.
And it says here the latest ban also applies on Instagram. And I think, obviously we're talking about Facebook here, but Facebook is let's just say it's more of a older generation thing. I'd say maybe 18.
People still use it, but
not as
I'd
much.
say it's sort of 18
no,
upwards.
I see what you mean.
And obviously there's things on Facebook that you wouldn't probably find on Instagram yet. And it just shows that people on Facebook are actually changing how young people can use their social media, because Facebook owns Instagram, and Instagram and Snapchat are the two biggest used social medias. Definitely, I'm not in China, because they've got their other social media.
They got WeChat, I think.
But that point still stands. For this generation, I would say Instagram, Snapchat is in this micro generation here. They're the defining things. If someone can get onto that and post their political views, you get hundreds upon thousands of people instantaneously viewing it, as opposed to back in 60s era, or even later than that, where the way to spread political awareness was to hold rallies, and you'd have to mail people about them, and people are less influenced by that. But as soon as it pings up on their phone, they can like it, they can follow, they can be subtly influenced by those electronic timelines just right there on their screen in real time.
Russia has tightened its grip on the national net again, and it says here Russia has formally adopted a law that gives its government more control over its domestic internet,
which is kind of straying further from what Tim Berners-Lee intended in the first place of the internet. So.
As in, from what I've heard from certain people, basically Russia's created their own internal internet, and
like what China's done.
Like China's done. And that's a very, very good point, because the internet was created to share data electronically, and it was, it's fairness, it's done its job, just not the data that people sometimes want. But if you start restricting the data that can be shared, that goes principally against the principles of the internet. That's just my opinion. If you start limiting whole countries and limiting whole communities from certain information, you're going to influence them in one direction. I think that's exactly what Russia's doing. In terms of a college, you can understand why they would block certain thing, because we're like,
well, it's actually it's law now.
It's law. It's physically law here. It's because we're students. You have to make sure that we're kept safe from whatever respective things. But to block an entire country just because basically you can is a bit of. I feel like it's against the freedom of information.
Well, it's just there's all these hack attacks that happen in Russia as well, and it's just gonna. The more are gonna happen. They think it's gonna stop it, but if they try block stuff, obviously the hackers are gonna find their way.
It's like when you try to build a dam against water, but you've done the dam really terribly, and the water will try find another way through. Sure, you can pad up one, it's just going to go through another way. And then there's another crack, and sooner or later the whole thing's going to come tumbling down right in your face.
Well, and the infrastructure isn't there for it at all. And
not at all.
They're probably going to do it over a couple of weeks and just basically snap their fingers. It's going to happen, and they're not going to. They don't know what to expect.
You do realise they have one of the best hackers on earth in the country, Edward Snowden. He's not one of the best hackers, but he is the guy,
the hacker,
who may or may not have taken confidential information from the US's information network.
Well, yeah, was it something to do with the election or something? Was that him?
No, I don't think it was the election. I think it was he actually took copies of how they would track down people and by absolutely infringing on their privacy. I mean, in the have you seen the movie Snowden?
Yeah.
Well, it is a great film and actually
It's good.
showcases a lot of things, and the technology to talk about it is actually really, really appropriate. Edward Snowden basically got involved in was it the NSA? Or the CIA? Was it?
No, I think it was
NSA, yeah. And he actually usually you'd have to get a court order. I mean, by like a small court, closed off court to investigate someone. But apparently, due to certain workings of the law for the NSA, or at least back then, they could literally look through someone's private Facebook, which they put things private. They could look through even their webcam when they wanted to for purely information. If they believe it's a terrorist threat, then they can sell anything.
Yeah.
And Edward Snowden completely disagreed with that to the point where he copied some data, gave it to some journalists, made it public so people could see, and then there was outroar, and then Edward Snowden moved to Moscow.
Probably. Last thing before we finish is that in the UK and a couple other countries, they're thinking about doing tech-based polls for elections.
Mm-hmm.
What's your view on that?
I think it's been a long time coming. With the internet age, it makes sense to just get rid of those paper polls, but also, on the flip hand,
that's where you can hack it.
Yeah,
that's the
there
problem.
people can hack it. In fairness, it's a lot more difficult to hack the postal service, as in physically try get some posts, open it, change their view, send it back.
Well, that's the thing, but it is also very slow.
Efficiency, I can see why they would want to move over. And to be honest, I agree with that, but there have to be certain safeguards, because if I vote for one party, I don't want someone going in and changing my vote for another when it wasn't in the method of democracy, because it's a method of one person who just happens to be skilled in a computer.
Yeah. I think we'll end it there. Thank you very much, Will, for coming.
No, not a problem.
Thank you, Ben. See you next episode. I'd like to just say thank you to our producer and editor, Kenny Morgan, who will get this up and running on YouTube. Do go check out the YouTube, WellyCompSci YouTube. There'll be a link in the description for that. Also a link for the WellyCompSci homepage. There's some blogs on that. Do check them out. Really good blogs, like we were talking about. Thanks for DukeBox for letting us use your studio. And there'll be a little feature video on their channel to show you what this podcast is about, and maybe move on to our channel to watch the full thing. Do like and subscribe if you did enjoy the podcast, and comment down below who you think you want next, and any questions from me or Ben for the show. Yeah, great. Thank you.